Your weekly reading. Let's look at what you've been doing, what you're avoiding right now, and where this is actually heading if you make the right move. The Magician reversed sits in your past position, and it is not a comfortable card to look at. But looking at it clearly is exactly what this reading is asking you to do. The Magician upright is someone who has all the tools, all the raw ability, and the focus to execute. Reversed, that same person turns those tools inward in the wrong direction. Manipulation, misdirection, big plans that never quite launched. Sound familiar? Here is the reframe you need to hear. You think the problem was bad luck or bad timing. It wasn't. The problem was that you knew what you were capable of, and you used that knowledge to perform potential instead of proving it. You stayed in the planning stage because staying there felt safer than risking a real attempt. Every pitch that stayed in a draft folder, every conversation you steered instead of having honestly, every talent you hinted at but never committed to. That is the Magician reversed. Not a villain, a person who flinched. And here is what matters. That behavior made sense at the time. It protected you from something. But you are carrying it forward into a present that is asking something different from you now. The past card does not define you. It explains a pattern you have been running. What this card is asking you to release is the habit of building your identity around what you could do rather than what you have done. Stop auditing your potential. Start filing the receipts. Before you move into this week, write down one thing you have been calling a plan that is actually an escape route. Name it. That is where this starts. The High Priestess reversed lands in your present. And after what we just saw in the past position, this card makes complete sense. The High Priestess upright is someone who holds information with purpose, who knows when to wait and when to act. Reversed, that discernment collapses into withdrawal. You are withholding, not just from other people, from yourself. You are sitting on something, a decision you have not made, a conversation you have not had, information you have gathered but refuse to act on because acting would make it real. Here is the reframe. You think your silence right now is strategy. It is not. It is the same avoidance pattern from the past card, wearing a more sophisticated mask. The Magician reversed performed competence instead of demonstrating it. The High Priestess reversed performs wisdom instead of using it. You are treating stillness like a virtue, when what you are actually doing is waiting for a guarantee that is never going to come. That is not patience. That is paralysis with better posture. Now, the High Priestess is not all shadow. Even reversed, she carries something important, the recognition that you already know more than you are acting on. You have done the research. You have had the conversations. You have felt where this is pointing. The gap is not information. The gap is commitment. Your action this week is specific. Identify the one decision you have been sitting on for more than 2 weeks. Not the complicated one, the one you already know the answer to. Make that call, send that message, say the thing out loud to one person who will hold you to it. Movement, not momentum. One concrete step. The King of Wands stands in your future position, and this card does not show up gently. He is one of the most decisive figures in the entire deck. Upright, he is the person who leads from vision, who moves fast without being reckless, who builds things that last because he never loses sight of where he is going. This is where you are headed. But here is what you need to understand about this card in this position, following the Magician reversed and the High Priestess reversed. The King of Wands is not a reward. He is a result. You think the future card is telling you something good is coming to you. It is telling you something is being built by you. There is a difference. The pattern you identified in the past, performing potential instead of proving it, and the pattern you are interrupting right now, withholding instead of deciding. Those are the exact patterns the King of Wands does not have. He is not waiting for permission. He is not building elaborate plans to avoid committing to one. He picks a direction and he leads. The question this card is asking you is not whether you have what it takes. You already demonstrated in the past card that you have the raw capacity. The question is whether you are willing to drop the performance and lead from a real decision. The King of Wands earns authority by being the person who shows up and calls it. To prepare for this version of yourself, you need to start practicing small acts of decisive leadership right now. Make a call without polling everyone first. Back your own read on a situation. Let yourself be wrong once in public rather than indefinitely right in private. That is how this future becomes yours. You have the ability. You have the awareness. Now it just needs a decision. Subscribe for your weekly reading.